We haven't done this before yet, but you can go in. There should be a way you can stream it to your audience too. Do you see in the top right where you can stream to your audience? If you do that,
I just expanded the screen, so he said top right.
yeah,
Is that where it says question mark on the?
something like that. Um, where is it at?
Once you're live, if you stream in public, you'll find.
What it is anyway? Oh, well, we'll figure this out. To co-stream on stream. There. That's how quick you can figure stuff out, folks. Appear on screen.
It says it's just connecting to your Insta.
So I mean, we want to connect to yours too, for sure. Um, guest destinations require a paid StreamYard plan. I'm doing paid. All right, we'll figure it out for next time.
Wait till we go live and then be like, let's figure out how to
Yeah,
stream.
let's figure out how to do the
our
dual
page too
stream
at the same
while
time.
we're in the middle of this. But it would probably prove a point. You can figure stuff out,
Pretty
and
quickly. Pretty quickly.
I'm in Tampa, and even though we're not in the same room, we're in the same city, and yeah, we are excited. We've got a bunch of stuff coming for the Iron Apex that's launching in essence on a continuous basis. So
Yeah.
yeah, I think we chatted a little bit today. We want to get in and dig into um, the lifeblood of what I would call sweat equity. And sweat equity, so I sit down and talk to people all the time, 'cause people either have money or don't have money. And I find a lot of people, when they start out in this business, normally aren't of the I have plenty of money and not enough time category. It's usually the other way around. They have plenty of time and not enough money. And that's part of the inherent difficulty of launching into this business. And so, what Philippe and I want to try to bring today is some tips and tricks and things. We were talking today. Philippe has a BNI group that he's part of. I've been in BNI before. I've done other networking groups. That's one example of creating sweat equity, because what we mean by sweat equity is you're putting in time, aka sweat effort, just like my floors. We just redid. I think it's like at least 1,000 square feet of freaking wood floor in my house we're trying to sell, and I had the option: do I hire somebody? Do I want to spend the money, or do I want to spend the sweat, the time, the energy, and the effort to do it myself? And
Yeah.
that's really the game here. Same thing with, like, we were talking about a tree. You could right now, any of you could go to any of your local hardware store or flower store or Home Depot or Lowe's or any of those places, and you could buy a tree that's 5 foot tall, 10 foot tall, and you would pay a few $100s for that. However, if you wanted to buy a 45-foot mature tree, the process to move and transplant that tree is exponentially more expensive. So you have to put more energy up front, cash wise, or pay for
Yeah.
the skipping of time. Because the one thing you can't do is you can't simulate time passing, but you can buy time. You can buy time by buying a completed project that's already done for you or by you,
Yeah.
right? And so, what do you think, Philippe? Because I know we talked about this a little bit while I've been out here. What do you think your number one strategy you would give somebody if they had no money, but they had 8 hours a day that they could use to build this business? Like, where would you send them first?
Yeah. So I love that question, Josh, and I think it's something that you actually hit on when we first met, right? And a lot of it has to do with networking. Obviously, I think networking is your number one way to gain a lot of access to business, to money. It's the cheapest way. And when people say free networking, it's never really free, right? Because you may have to buy a cup of coffee, you might have to buy a lunch, some of these things like that. But that networking is so important. And I prefer networking where you have skin in the game, because typically if you're putting skin in the game on networking, that means that there's some rules, there's some expectations, there's some standards, there's some accountability metrics that exist, and that teaches you how to properly network. Because what we were talking about when we were eating lunch today is I'll meet someone who says, well, I'm great at networking. And I'll say, okay, what is your ROI on your network group? So they're like, well, nothing yet. And then I'm like, well, then you're shit at networking, right? You're good at making friends. You're good at socializing, but socializing and networking are not the same thing. When you network with people, you're letting them know who you are, what it is you do, why you do it, and what's the best person for you. What's your ideal avatar or your ideal client, your IDC. You'll hear some of these acronyms often in this industry. IDC is your ideal client. And I like to use a lot of acronyms that are in the marketing world, because if you're not selling, you should be marketing. There's only two things we do in insurance. You're either selling or you're marketing, and the cheapest way to market is network, right? So if you do a B&I group, a Chamber of Commerce, Rotary, a Lions Club, Moose Club, Elks Lodge, technically speaking, if you're going to doctor events where, meet the doctor, meet and greets with the doctor and all that stuff, and you spend your time talking to brokers, how's that moving the needle, right? You just get in a group of other brokers who say, oh, the fucking world is terrible. Did you hear shit about this person and that person sleeping with this person and da-da-da-da-da, whatever. That's bullshit. What you should be doing is doing what? Networking with people. But who do you network? You network with the office, not with the insurance people, not with the sales people that you're going to do events with. You network with the office, because whatever you call them, like they're MCs, they're MCGs, they're ambassadors for a doctor or whatever they're called, right? They're salespeople. I don't care what they say. 9 times out of 10, they're not going to send you referrals. They can't, because they're working with 10 other brokers and they got to keep it even. But what other brokers do is they're just trying to extract money from these doctor groups, rather than saying, well, I'm just going to get really good with the front desk girl. I'm going to get really good with the referral manager that works in that specific office. And I'm going to get to know her and find out she's a cat person and she's got kids that color. And I'm going to bring coloring books. And I got that one from you, Josh. And I'm going to do all these things because I want to be good in the office, because who's actually seeing the patients when they have problems or questions are these people. And if I'm, top of mind and tip of tongue, which is the point of networking, and I let them know, hey, this is my ideal client, a person that's dealing with X, Y, and Z. If you ever have that, send them my way. I don't charge anything. I give free consultations. I'll help them and I'll help you to smooth out the process. That's how you network for free, right? So I think networking would be my number one activity to do.
Where would you send somebody?
For networking?
Yeah, like right now.
If you had no money?
Yeah.
If you had no money, again, there's no such thing as free networking. I would think maybe the Chamber is probably the cheapest one you can do. Or if you did every city, typically, if you live in a decently populated city, has these very inexpensive networking functions or foundations. I had a guy in Tennessee. I told him to join a realtor one. He's not a fucking realtor, but realtors will send him business because new movers, right? You're a new mover and you're 65 or older. Like, hey, if you have any new movers that are seniors, that's a perfect avatar for me. That's a perfect client for me. Please send me those people. So you're getting real specific with somebody. So I would look, if you have $0, zero money whatsoever, I would start in the places that are free. If you're faith-based, like me and Josh, church, great place. Church, small group, not just going to service, small group, Bible studies, meeting people, connecting with people genuinely, and letting them know what it is that you do and who you're looking for. Those can be great referral sources for you. I'm not telling you to go to church to extract business. That's not the point. The point is, I'm trying to tell you, if you create relationships with people and you teach them what your ideal client is, they're going to remember that. And if they like you, if you're likable, you got to be likable. If you're a likable person, they're going to want to go out of their way to help you, right? That's something that we share in our brotherhood of being Christians. It's something that we share when, people that likewise, sisters and brothers that go to church, regardless of your religion. If you go to an organized place of worship, people tend to care about other people in that place of worship. It's like you belong to a club. Clubs are another one. If you belong to any kind of clubs, knitting club, motorcycle club, whatever, those people might not be your ideal avatar, but you're not trying to sell them. You're trying to have them sell you. See what I'm saying? And so many people do networking, Josh, and it says, well, it doesn't work. And I'm like, why doesn't it work? Well, nobody in the group bought from me. You don't want anybody in the group to buy from you. You want them just to find other people. You want to turn them into you, even if it's a 10% of you, because we talked about this too. How many people do you need to replicate who you are, right? And if people are only 10% of what you are, then get 10 of them. You have 10 people in a referral group that say, if I ever hear the word insurance, I'm going to call Philippe, right? And you have other people work for you where you can't be. It's expanding where you're at is a great way to spend your time. not going to a doctor event, having 5 drinks because they're free, and eating some tacos or whatever because it's free and you don't have any money. And that's how you're networking, is you're meeting your competition and get into a state of negativity, right? Like I can't stress that enough. I believe in paid networking. So a completely free, I don't know. I never really did a lot of free stuff, man, because I was always like willing to spend $30 a month or, $15 for taking a guy out for coffee or something like that. But yeah, 100% for free. Churches, charitable organizations that you can just show up to that you don't have to pay anything for, and just getting to know people, asking them tons of questions about their business and what they do. And they typically will respond with, well, by the way, what do you do? Right? You tell them, well, this is what I do. This is who I help. And this is who I would love to meet. Do you know any of those kinds of people?
Right.
Just like that.
What do you think? I guess the way I would look at it is the easiest way to find a client, or I guess there's a saying. There's a saying that I hear all the time, that a client will become a friend faster than a friend will become a client.
Yeah.
And the arm that I would recommend someone go to is, if you have no book of business, then you have a warm market. And if you have a book of business, that is your warm market you start with.
Yeah.
And the warm market oftentimes will lead to more opportunity than going into any networking group. Because in my experience, networking groups, while effective, you're going to have some level of everyone trying to extract value from each other. Where if you find your most favorite, for me, I would say find your favorite client first. Take that favorite client, invite them to lunch, invite them to, like today, Philippe, we ended up playing, we played 4 or 5 holes by ourselves.
Yeah.
And then we were trying to let Dan the man play through. And instead, Dan the man, who, believe it or not, on a Tuesday morning playing golf, was retired and on Medicare.
Yep.
Was a multi-level candidate for opportunity. Now, we didn't pursue that because that's not what today was about. But we could have easily at the end say, hey, Dan the man, here's my card. But I did give him a veteran coin. And if you didn't notice this, the second I gave him that veteran coin, he started using it as a ball marker.
Yeah, I saw that. I noticed it.
So there is value there, and there's this very simple transition there. Same thing. So for me, my best advice is someone who needs to go into the field to create relationships. Start with what you enjoy doing, because if you don't enjoy the process itself, it's going to make it a tedious process, and a tedious process you won't keep doing and keep following through with. And that's the whole point of this whole thing, is it's relationship based. We're talking about relationship based marketing. We're talking about relationship based everything that the Iron Apex stands for. It starts with relationship with God, relationship with each other, relationship with other people, and that relationship is fostered and founded with liking each other. So again, if you love to eat and talk, then invite your favorite client. If you don't have clients, then you go to your warm market, find your favorite mom, your favorite aunt, your favorite uncle, your favorite friend, your favorite something, and then get them in an environment that you enjoy. So like this time we went golfing, right, Philippe? And Philippe, admittedly, he's a golfer by force, not by choice today.
Yeah.
And next time I'm here, what are we going to do? We're enjoys shooting guns.
Yeah.
And so next time we're going to go to the shooting range. And in the shooting range, I guarantee you we'll find people that love shooting. At the golf course, guess what Dan the man loved to do? It was very evident. He loved to play golf. He was there playing by himself.
Yep.
Okay. And so again, we get into these veins of people, and you get people that have like-minded interests and thoughts than you. Same thing with church. Again, I don't condone and endorse going to church to try to extract referrals.
100%.
Like I wouldn't go to the doctor's office to try to extract referrals. I wouldn't go to an Edward Jones to try to extract referrals. What I'm doing is I'm going to these places that I know have access to people I need to talk to, and I want to create a relationship where they like me and I like them, and they become a friendly face over time. Because Philippe, we didn't bring it up, but it only took, 5 holes or something before he asked me, so what do you do?
Yeah. I was getting a cup of coffee, I think, when he asked you. I came out and it was like the middle of the conversation.
It was at the turn. And that's the point is we're not putting ourselves in position to get this windfall of referrals. What I'll tell you is it just takes one. If you end up creating a relationship with the perfect storm, which is the person of influence, a pastor, a coach, a teacher, in every group of friends, there's usually one person who is the leader. And so it's this the reps that you're getting, the putting yourself in position to do something you enjoy over and over again. Golf is an expensive way to do it, but only if you pick. Like I was looking on golf now today, we could have easily have picked a course that was $25 to go play.
Yeah.
And that's the same vein as taking someone to lunch or someone to coffee or someone to whatever it is. And so when you say if it's a free marketing, yes and no, but it's a lot more awkward if you just try to like let's go take a walk or something. Like now, if you love hiking, again, not go to the local hiking trail, but you've got to open yourself up like a flower to attract the bee.
Yeah. No, I like that too, because like that's my point of clubs, right? If you're into cars, join a car club. That's the specifics. That way you have people that are like-minded with you, and it's like 50% of the travel time is finding something that you have a similar interest in, which usually lets people's guard down to where you can ask better questions. Because my thing is like, I tell everybody what I do. I've got this rule: if you're 3 feet away from me, you're gonna know what I do, right? But I'm not obnoxious with it. I typically will ask someone else a ton of questions, to drive interest of them being like, this guy doesn't know me, but he's very interested in what I do. And he's like, wow, that's freaking cool, man. Can you teach me more? And then from that point, the law of reciprocation usually kicks in. That's how conversations work, right? Hey, good morning. Someone usually says, good morning, right? Like, how are you? I'm great. How are you? Right? It's just like basic human psychology, right? What do you do for work? Wow, you're a lawyer? What kind of law did you do? I did commercial law and, construction litigation.
Law and his
yeah, it's like, wow, you must be busy in Florida with the way we're expanding all the time. Yeah, we seem to be pretty busy. And then you were like, hey, what's your favorite kind of cases? Oh, the cases I win. yeah, I bet, right? Like winning cases has got to be ideal. And it's just like, then people will just be like, yeah, no, absolutely is what we do. Hey, by the way, what do you do? And it's just like, that's usually how it happens. So it's not like you go, if you like hiking, you're not going to go on the trail, be like, hey, what's up, man? I do Medicare. What about you? What do you do? Like, that's stupid. You don't want to do that.
Right.
I think like what you said as well is like, yesterday you're like, ask me about Medicare pin, hang it upside down, right? So people are like, hey, your pin's upside down. Oh shoot, and what does that say? You know what I mean? Like just little things like that you can do that are super subtle. Maybe those would be the free things, even though you got to actually buy the pin. So I think that's like inescapable that you don't spend any money. Unless you actually like maybe your mom or like your aunt, someone in the family, like, hey, do you know anybody? Like that's a little bit less abrasive because you have a ton of common, their family. But yeah, I mean, I think no matter what, at some level, you have to be willing to. I hate using the word sacrifice, so I'm going to say invest instead. I think at some point you have to realize that if you're going to become a broker, if you've made the conscious decision to become a broker, I hope you don't do this when you're completely broke and have no money and no clients. Because I would tell you, and this is, I might get struck by lightning by saying this right now. Josh, you might come over to my house and attack me. But if you have no money and no clients, you may be better off being a captive for like a year, right? Just to get some money, fill it in the bank, maybe get a handful of clients, or maybe get into life insurance and sell life insurance over the phone for a little bit, make a little bit of money, kind of deal with that. I mean, it's hectic and it sucks, but at some point, something's got to give. And there's two mindsets on it. Either I'm going to invest or I'm going to sacrifice. I just happen to like to say, I'm going to invest, whether it's invest my time or invest my money. And typically the things that work takes either a massive amount of one and a tiny microscopic of a little bit, or an even keel, right? But you can do a ton of sweat equity and minimal money in. I mean, talking about minimal. I mean, guys, if you can't buy a cup of coffee for someone that you really like, that you think could be a sphere of influence for you, I don't know, man. Like,
you're not ready to start a business.
You're definitely not. But I think everybody that's listening to this, that's going to take the advice, you can afford a cup of coffee, or at least you can find places that you can reinvest dollars that you're already spending into something that's actually going to move the needle, right? So if you go to Starbucks every day, maybe stop doing that. And once a week, you take a couple of people out to Starbucks, right? So rather than just spending it on you, you do a little bit less there. And then that way it affords you to do a little bit more on the back end, right? So I think like a lot of that would help people in the networking sense. But yeah, your warm markets and where you already have interest is great. You're obviously your existing clients, you should be asking for referrals all the time, right? And it's like, it's almost like a sub headline of everything that you send out to clients is like, hey, how are you doing? This is a quarterly meeting, da 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 da. If you found value in this, please know that I'm looking for X, Y, and Z. If you know anybody like that, send them my way. If you want to incentivize it, you can incentivize if you want, right? You just got to keep track to make sure that you're not breaking any rules and laws, just in case you got somebody that sends you like 20 referrals. You can't pay them, $25 every time they send you a referral because you're going to go over certain limitations. But yeah, I have clients that send me referrals like crazy. I did this event that I showed you that Del Webb, and one of my clients, Debbie, came up to me. She had a few glasses of wine. And she was like, hey, how's it going? And I was like, I'm not really here to like push people, Debbie. I'm already in this community. I got like almost 100 clients in this community. I'm just here to sponsor the event so you guys have a good time. She was like, no, we're going to get you some people. And she started dragging people to my table. This is Philippe. He does my insurance. He does his insurance, her insurance. Starts pointing everybody out. You got to talk to him. What kind of insurance do you have? And I'm just standing there. And she's just going off, right? And I'm like, Debbie's great. Debbie's the first one to tag me in every Facebook post, to invite me to everything, to tell me what's going on. And I've got tons of those kinds of clients that work hard for me. And Josh, I know you do too, right? And everybody does.
That's what I call them. Yeah.
How do you nurture them, right? You take them out for lunch. You make them feel special. You let them know, hey, listen, you're a big part of my business. Like, I even hire some of them, to be honest with you. I have a group of 5 ladies that I hired, and all they do for me is they help me check Facebook posts, and they help me respond to people that are asking about Medicare. Like, hey, do you know someone that, works on Medicare? And they'll respond and say, yeah, Philippe Lunsett is amazing. He's my broker. He's done X, Y, and Z for me. You got to connect with him, because these people are over the age of 65, and there are groups on Facebook that you can't enter because you're not of age, right? So you have to have somebody who can do it for you. So I even figured out how to get my top referrers to get on payroll, so where they can refer me more business in an organic kind of way, which is just giving a recommendation on Facebook, which is totally legal, by the way.
So what would you say? So I guess, what exactly would you say to a client? So you have a client, it's Debbie, and what are you going to say to Debbie if you need to get referrals from her?
So I'd be like, hey, Debbie, first I would ask about her. How's everything going? How's your plan? How's everything? Great. And she's always going to reciprocate. Well, how's everything with you, Philippe? Listen, the family is great. I'm so blessed with everything. I'm at a point in my business right now where things are going really, really well. But Debbie, to be honest with you, I'm looking for more people that are in the closer vicinity to me, because Debbie happens to live very close to me. I'm looking for more people that are in the direct area, because I drive a lot and I'm trying to spend more time at home with my family. Not that I'm not trying to travel to my clients, but I want to really grow a pocket here as well, because I really want to service people closer. So Debbie, I'm just curious, do you know anybody right now that's aging into Medicare? And I know that you're still working and you live in Del Webb. Just knowing, if you know anybody that's aging in, that's going to be on Medicare, if you know anybody like that, just send them my way. Just let me know. I'm happy to do it. 3-way text is usually the best way. If you can text them and text me, that way they know it's legit. That would be fantastic. Debbie's going to be like, absolutely, I'll do that for you, right? So that's typically how I would do it. And I always say 3-way text. So I tell people what I'm looking for, who I'm looking for, and how to contact me. Because if you don't do that, you're going to get this shit where they're like, hey, this person wants to talk to you. And you're like, well, have them reach out to me, and they never do.
Or you use the 3 magic words too, which is, I'm just curious.
Yep.
You could, if you preface anything, and I mean this, you can ask anything to anyone if you frame it with, I'm just curious.
Yeah, 100%.
I'm just curious. What can I? Who can I? Where can I? How can I? All those things. You could literally. I'm just curious. Why are you so ugly? You could literally say that to someone, and they're not going to be as offended as if you just say, you're ugly. What happened? Whatever. And so it's that understanding psychology, understanding how humans behave, understanding that humans want to help, but they only want to help people that in their mind are justifiably worthy of help.
Yeah.
And so if you've ever listened to how Philippe framed that out, what he did was he said, I'm just curious. And then he gave them a story. Again, if you've ever done my trainings on referrals, you give them a story of one or two things. You either get them to feel sorry for you, or you get them to get behind your mission. And in this scenario, it was a combo in Side Pocket that Philippe used. It was get them to feel sorry for him because he's driving around too much and doesn't get enough time with his family. But also that's a mission they can get behind. Like, let's help Philippe spend more time with his family
100%.
by helping him find people that are closer to home so he doesn't have to drive as much. And that two-layered but combined with the I'm just curious, you can transition that. Last night we were at dinner at Charlie's, right? And what did I say to the waiter?
Yeah. You're like, hey man,
I said, hey, I'm just curious.
Yeah, just curious.
If you don't mind telling me how much money you making doing this.
Yep. And is this what you want to do forever, or is this your forever gig, or what?
Told, okay, that's cool. So your most you've ever made is blank. And then I transitioned straight to, well, do you keep your options open? Or you plan on doing this the rest of your life? And really his passion had nothing to do. He had been a waiter for 20 something years.
Yeah.
Yet that wasn't his passion, was it, Philippe?
No, it was music.
His passion was music. But he handed us a card. I'm gonna grab it.
Yeah, it's in my other room. Gave us a card, and it was the restaurant on one side.
Literally, his damn card has. I'm not gonna put it in front of me.
Yeah, right there.
You can't see it. Has the name of the restaurant on it. So his business card has Charlie's Steakhouse, which he doesn't own, but he takes ownership in working there. Okay, and on the other side, it has his QR code and it has his music. And here's an example of a guy who's figured out a lane of his passion. Again, his passion is music. And Philippe, I hate to bring this up, but what was he making the most money off of with his music channels?
Oh, it was the like ambient 3 hour long
music,
like
white
thunderstorms and white noise and jungle, like stuff that he's not even really producing. He's just like ripping samples of like rain falling on leaves, and that's where he's making his money, you know?
From YouTube listening time.
Yep.
From again, he's it's the same concept we're trying to tell you here. Like, that's the arm, is to find your passion. His passion is clearly music, but anyone who's tried to do music before, unless you know somebody, or unless you're just unworldly talented, the likelihood that you're going to get your big break and make money from that passion. Same thing, like for me, I never ever, Philippe, I could play every single day, and I would if I could get away with it. I could play golf every day for the rest of my life. I'm never going to make money doing it.
Right.
I've acknowledged that. That's not where my wheelhouse. But I will indirectly make a crap ton of money from golfing a lot because of the positioning I put myself in. I don't ever try to play by myself. Whenever I can, I'm trying to combine forces. I'm trying to join twosomes. I'm trying to join threesomes. I'm trying to get partnered with other people because it puts me in that position that I wouldn't naturally normally do. My normal natural position is to sit quietly on the side and observe, but that's terrible if you're putting together a marketing plan.
Yeah,
like, you're not going to get referrals being the wallflower. And so it's inherently against my personality, but I put myself in positions, whether it's golf, whether it used to be gambling before I've done that, at church. I haven't transitioned in church yet. I'm still working my way.
Do you do small group at your church?
Well, there is, but we haven't been participating.
That's my thing. When you participate in small group, I've been in a men's group called Courageous for, oh my God, since I was saved. So 4 years now. And all of those guys do business with me, not because I asked them, because they demanded that I was their broker, and all of their families, their grandparents, their friends. I'm making a really good amount of money in that men's group. Now we have 300 men. By the way, if you want, we're going tonight, so you're going to meet all these guys. It's a great group, and I'll wear my Ask Me About Medicare shirt just because I typically wear branded shirts everywhere I go now. I learned that from somebody. They're like, always wear your brand no matter where you're at, as long as it's, fashion appropriate. So I do. And people will ask, what's ProCare Consulting? And then I tell them, hey, I own and operate a health insurance agency, and we help people win in the game of insurance by putting them on the right strategy, because we work for our clients. We don't work for the insurance companies. So I do it really quick and easy. And they're like, oh, I have insurance. Well, no shit. Every basic person has insurance. Do you like it? Right? How do you like your insurance? Well, insurance sucks. And I was like, a lot of people tell me that, but I find that if you strategize it right, they love it.
There's a lot of angles you can take.
Yeah.
to start poking holes for points of pain, and points of pain motivate people to make movement. And so someone could very well have health insurance, could very well have life insurance, could very well have whatever it is that you're selling. But how are you positioning once you identify the need there? Yeah, do you like it? Have you ever had to use it? Have you ever hit your deductible before? What is your deductible? What happens if you get hospitalized? Do you know? What happens if you have to take an air ambulance? Do you know? What happens? What happens? What happens? You start poking around to find out exactly. Okay, just because you have it doesn't mean you have the right one. And with
100%.
insurance, it's one of those things, right? You don't want to be too much. You don't want to be overinsured or insurance poor, and you don't want to be underinsured.
Yeah.
And so, right. And so those angles are all really important. And when it comes to networking and marketing, that's really what we wanted to put out today is, how do I say it? What do I say? Well, you just say normal chit chat, get to know you, and or furthering your relationship stuff. And then organically or naturally or forced, you can creatively ask questions in the right way.
Yeah,
there's a right way and a wrong way, right? Of asking the questions to open up the conversation, just so you can try to move the needle towards what you need or want, or both. And so we're already out of time. That these things go too fast, I think, sometimes.
They really do. They really do.
But yeah, we're going to start bringing a lot of heat. We have a full schedule. We had a full content session yesterday. We're working on the school. So we're going to launch a school. We're going to launch workshops. We're going to launch boot camps. We're going to launch Zooms. We're going to launch rooms. We're putting together a whole lot of stuff, and we're looking for people that have like-mindedness, who are founded in faith, who want to have iron sharpen iron. And so if you haven't already, again, like the Facebook, we have a Facebook page, we have a Facebook group. We can need you to find it. And so that this is the first step of that, is to get the word out that we're putting this thing together. We're coming, we're not stopping. And once a week on Tuesdays at noon Mountain, 1 Central, 2 p.m. Eastern, or for all you weirdos in California, 11 a.m. Okay. And so watch the podcast, put into the chat what you want to ask.
What you want us to talk about. Like, if you have something that you think is a dying subject or a subject you're really dying to hear, let us know. Because like, I'll be honest, next week we should talk about the exact spheres that people should meet. Like, what's the best kind of professions that are going to send a Medicare broker or a health insurance broker business, right? Is it construction? Is it PNC? Is it accountants? Is it lawyers? Is it financial planners? Like, who they are and how to meet them. Because I think I've those dialed in pretty good. And I know that you do as well, because a couple of them I got from you, right? So I think that'd be a good subject matter to kind of just expand on what we talked about today, to give some people like actionable steps of like, hey, get 5 of these people and watch what happens. Watch what happens to your business and your referral lines. You'll have to do less work and you'll get more referrals.
Yeah.
You just teach the right people.
Effort for sure. So thanks for tuning in. We'll see you. I think is it this week or next week? We have the Thursday session. I think it's this week.
It's actually this week. We have our first Thursday session.
So Thursday is a longer form. We're going to go deeper, harder in the paint. We're going to go deep on some topics. And yeah, we hope you can join us. And if not, we'll see you in a room or in a Zoom or in a workshop or something near you soon.
Awesome. All right, everybody.